Oh, why hello there. You've caught me having my morning beverage and ready to discuss Trismegustus. See how that rhymes? Trismegustus is a new game by Board and Dice, published by Daniela Tascini and Federico Perlionesi. Hopefully. I'm really bad at names. But this is, surprisingly enough, yet another tea game published by Board and Dice and Daniela Tascini. How does it hold up to Teotihuacan, Tzolk'in, and there's a new one, Tabanusi or Tawaz something? Anyways, let's talk about Trismegustus. In this game, you are trying to vie to be the next Trismegustus, who is some guy who came up with how to make gold out of transmuting different elements. So we're making fool's gold, essentially. This game has a lot of really cool mechanics. It's a dice drafting game, obviously, as a lot of the other Tascini games right now, where you're going to take dice from the center pool and then you're going to put them onto your board and you're going to try and transmute them into various different elements. This process is actually really cool. I love the way that the board flows through and the way that you can transmute the things. And then there's a lot of really big combo moves that come further on in the game. So if you really like combos, you're really going to like this game. However, my biggest pet peeve with it though is that there's a lot of symbology that you have to understand. So the die in itself kind of has three currencies attached to it. The symbol that's on it, the color that it is, as well as the symbol that's on it has another symbol that it relates to that is also another piece of currency. All of those three different things tell you whether or not you can move the die around a certain transmutation route, whether or not that die produces those level of goods, and whether or not when you go and complete your recipes, essentially, when you've done your studying and experiments, what element that die relates to, earth, wind, fire, water, etc. The other aspect that I didn't like so much is that all of those elements that you do have are just represented by plain old cubes, and it's depending on where you put it on the board. This is another one of those things like Terraforming Mars, where one cube represents every type of thing and where you put it matters. So where you put it kind of needs to stay put. And this is another board that's just flat. It doesn't have indentations for it. This could have been solved with, double thick boards with indentations in it, with a little pool area, or with using actual resource tokens. But there's a lot going on in this game. I did like it, but it's unlikely to actually stay in my collection because there's so much translation that you have to do in order to play the game. So as much as it is a really great planning and programming game with a lot of really combo-y aspects, you're definitely going to have to play this several times to get into the flow of it to make it go really fast. This says 90 to 120 minutes. We definitely did play around the 120-minute range versus the 90-minute range. With 2 players. It definitely says it is best at 2 players. I agree with that. If you play this with more players, you're just adding in more time because everything is pretty much solo. You are competing a little bit for the dice that you want to take, so we did have that little aspect. Otherwise, it's kind of solo. And that also means that analysis paralysis galore, which does go in line with its weight rating of almost a 4 out of 5 here, which means it's a really heavy game. Now, the mechanics of the game and what you can do are not actually what's heavy about it. It's just that there's a lot of planning and thinking that you have to do in order to take your turn. So I think that's kind of where it ends up getting its rating for the weight from. As for the 7.7, I would say that this is more around a 6.5 to 6.75 for me. So it's a good game. I'm usually willing to play it. But that 7 range is the one where I'm going to recommend that we play it. And this is one that is really dependent on the gaming group. So you and I, are we going to play this? Who knows? You let me know in the comments below. Subscribe, hit the notifications, and we will see you next time. Bye.